Oh,
Yeah, we're actually early. So I've been experiencing some little internet kind of bumps and glitches and stuff. So maybe it'll be my night to get bumped off. Who knows?
wow.
But if it happens, it happens. So let me just make one little adjustment. I have learned that if I don't, that the video doesn't always go through. Okay, well we'll check on it in a moment. It looks okay. I
Yeah.
got Mary Beth. Hi, Mary Beth.
Hello.
Who
I don't
dat's
think I'm
here?
live.
Das who
I
dat.
I'm not live for some
Well,
reason.
yeah,
It's
you always beat me, so it's okay though. I'm perfectly.
I'm live again now.
Hey,
I'm live.
Debs. Okay, so it's my friend Jenny. She said she'll try, and so I'm gonna just tell her to come on. She's so funny.
I'm
She just
live.
entertains me. She says the craziest things. I could write a book with the messages. Hey, Kelly, with her messages over the years. They're just she's such a creative imagination, and we talk a lot. And sometimes in the middle of the day, she'll send me a message, and it'll just really brighten my day. Just really give me a little
Yeah.
lift because she's such a wonderful person. Hey, Leanne. Let's see, what do we have here?
Yeah.
We've got six. So I've got a surprise for our people tonight. So give me
Ooh.
just a moment. It's not a huge surprise. It's a little surprise. Was that
Sorry?
Wink I just heard?
Hello.
That's
There's
Wink.
Wink.
That's
Hey,
Wink.
buddy.
Hi there. You all right?
How are you this evening?
Well, good, thank you.
Good. Are you
Been-
staying up or are you going to bed?
No, I'm going to go to bed now. I've been
Yeah,
out for
you
a
got a
time.
busy day.
For a Thai meal tonight.
Ty went out with his buddies for a Christmas get together.
I just had a little bit of time earlier and I saw he'd gotten a package.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. We got.
Yeah.
Where's your? Oh, I put it away in your drawer for you.
See,
It's
here's
upstairs.
another example of doing good. Das Hudat just sent me a message. Said he took magnesium last night. I took it yesterday morning and got no leg cramps last night. And I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad
Yeah.
to hear that somebody that's hanging out with us is getting a benefit at any point from anything, whether it's dietary changes, supplement changes, learning to drink water. There
That
it
is
is,
just brilliant.
just water.
Yeah, you are. I'm so proud of you. That's
Well,
just
thank
amazing.
you. You're
Darling,
so
would you bring my
kind.
charger lead in when you stick the washing machine on again? Thank you. Sorry, I turned off my washing machine to do a Facebook Live and then forgot to turn it back on again and just switched it off so it's in the middle of a program doing God knows what. So,
So I'm going to send you over Skype right now a
okay.
link that I'm going to give you, and you can decide if you want to share this with your folks or not. Here it is. So it's on your Skype. If you want it, you can see if you can click the link, but I'm going to put it up here. So it's just for our little group. No, I don't want anybody to share it, but it's for the Meta 7 website. And if you log in to make a purchase anytime today or tomorrow, then you get 15% off. All you have to do is put in Wink and Sue as the discount code. So if you put Wink and Sue, if you were planning on making a purchase, it doesn't matter. You can still use it. I lost Sue. Okay, well, if you were planning on making it, or if you haven't because you were looking for a break, you got it. There's 15%, not $15, 15%. Here we go. We did lose Sue. We're going to see if we can get her back.
Yes,
She's
I'm
back.
here.
You're
I can't
back.
find your thing. I've obviously pressed the wrong thing.
That's okay. That's okay.
Oh, I can see it. So what do I do? Just drag it over.
Well, if you can put it in your comment box, I think people can actually just click it maybe, or they can copy it. Or I'll tell you what I can do is I can put it as an overlay, but for my side, and then people can just look at it real quick if they want to come over, or if you can figure out how to get it. You want me to email it to you?
Yeah,
I can put it
it's
in
a
an
link,
email
isn't
real
it?
quick. Let me put
TP.
it in an email to you real quick so that you don't get knocked off again.
I went to move the box, and I think I moved it by clicking the red button.
Okay, so I'm sending you an email, so you can just copy the email and then put it in your, if you want to. It's up to you, totally up to you, in the box. Have you had any news on your Meta 7 delivery yet?
It has reached the international bit where the next thing is it comes to our country.
Good.
And last time that took 3 days, but it's taken 6 days. And the last bit of it last time took 7 days. So I'm figuring it might take a bit longer because of Christmas.
Okay, yeah, I think Christmas mail is going to slow things down. This was supposed to be a 6 to 10 day delivery time with this international box. So I suspect that due to the fact that Christmas packages are out there, it may slow things down a little bit. Well, hopefully it won't be too bad, and so at least it's on the way, and you do see it in your tracker. So you'll have that soon. So if anybody's in the UK area, or certainly in UK. Northern Ireland. I don't want to be politically insensitive to. I realize that it's the the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, right? That's the official name of your country. We're the United States of ridiculosity here sometimes. I don't so. So.
Yes, that's right.
If you are waiting, there is a package headed to Sue that has Meta 7, so you'll be able to make a purchase hopefully very soon. Leanne says, Chuck was having the same problem when he was going to see the doctor last week. I told Dr. McCrill he needed some magnesium. So far, so good. We haven't gotten the labs back yet. Sometimes the magnesium will not show up low, but still be the problem. So keep that in mind. It's really very difficult to get too much magnesium, okay? So I would say that you can take magnesium every day, even if you have a normal level. Don't worry about that. I haven't had anybody ever have a problem with magnesium in 25 years. I'm not worried about it tonight. Leanne, you said, okay, good. Sure to discuss. Good. Okay. Yes. Howdy, Judy. Okay, here's my first question. Do you have a question yet, or I have a question?
I don't. I have just got lots of people saying hello. Chrissy Moore's saying hello. Debs is saying hello. Mary Beth, Chrissy again. Yep, that's saying we've lost him. Margie, Elena. Yeah, so hello, ladies.
Hello,
On
ladies
you go.
and gentlemen. Tracy Cook is asking, is it best to give up dairy first or meat? Can't do both together due to family constraints. I will tell you, I think that if I was going to give one up first, I would give up dairy. And then I would try next to give up red meat. And then work your way through the others. I would say red meat and then pork, and then save chicken and fish probably for the last ones to give up. That's the direction. If you're going to gradually work your way into it, I think that would be just fine. I had an interesting dinner meeting last night with a number of physicians, and we were talking with them. Good night, Wink.
Good night.
All right, my friend.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
And we were talking about diabetes, and we were talking about overweight and some of these crazy diets that people are doing, and discussing some of the facts. And I had my whole staff with me, as far as my other physicians and nurse practitioners that are in my clinic. There are 5 of us total. And I blurted out some things that they didn't want to hear, like, we need to do more to remember that when we're talking to our patients, that we tell them that weight loss diets don't work. And of course, there was silence on the other side of the table. I said, I think that you all need to stress lifestyle changes. And I said, I think that you need to get into reading about a whole food plant-based diet and how beneficial it is, and encourage your patients to begin to cut animal products out of their diet, cut it down, increase their fruits and vegetables, and talk to their diabetics about the misinformation they're getting as to what's causing their type 2 diabetes. It's not being caused by their starches. It's being revealed by their starches. It's being caused by their animal products. And so I had a lot of quizzical looks, but I had a number of doctors that were at my big round table who went up and got themselves salads and put their meat away. It was a great discussion. It really was. So, some of this stuff is rather shocking with in the medical community, because in the back of our minds, we're dealing with patients that are doing everything they're supposed to be doing, and yet their diabetes continues to worsen. And we keep scratching our heads. Okay, your A1C is doing fine. Your numbers are okay, but what's happening is their diabetes is worsening. They're developing target organ damage to the retina, damage to the kidneys, neuropathy in the lower extremities, other problems, and it's all reversible. Hey, Madge. So anyway, so I brought that up. That was kind of a time to start showing off some of our knowledge in other venues. But yeah, so that's how I would start, Tracy. I would say get rid of the dairy first. I would say I would put eggs in the same place with chicken, since they're the same protein. So I would get rid of the eggs about the same time you get rid of the chicken.
That's good. That's what I did, actually. I gave up dairy about nearly 4 years ago now, because I just knew it wasn't good for me, and switched over to nut milks and just stopped eating cheese. And then I went kind of vegan, and then I added the vegan cheese back in. I know you always laugh when I talk about vegan cheese. So for me, that was just a luxury to have that back again, and to not have the feeling that went with eating dairy, which is just whoa. So yeah, I think that's really good advice, actually, and that's the way inadvertently I actually did it. And that was the question I said to you that I had for you that somebody had put down. So she's asked you as well. So that's fantastic. I've got the lovely Chrissy Moore here. She says, so I've decided, since my appetite has been so poor on the days following fasts, I'm limiting my fast to Thursday only. What do you think?
I think it's a process, and I think that if you're working hard toward the fasting and you find it too difficult to do 2 days a week, I think it's perfectly fine to do 1 day a week, and do the best you can toward working, hopefully toward doing 2 days a week. And I think that also keep in mind, if your body mass is already, if you have a BMI of under, say, 25, okay, now a body mass index is a relationship between your height and your weight. If your body mass index, and there's lots of calculators out there free online, you can just type in on Google and search your favorite search engine and put in body mass index. You'll find lots of free calculators, and you can put in your height and your weight, and it will tell you what your BMI is. If your BMI is under 25, then you may not want to fast twice a week, because you're fairly thin. You are normal weight, and if you don't want to fast more than once a week, you don't have to. But if you see that your weight starts going up a little bit and you want to get back on it, then you can go back to twice a week. And certainly we don't want anybody not to feel good. We want everybody to feel positive. And classic example, today I was talking with Dr. McClendon, who's at my clinic, and he has been working over the last several months to become much more of a vegetarian. Now, he's not yet to the vegan stage, but he says he's working more and more, just about with every meal, just consciously eating less meat and cutting the dairy out, avoiding the cheese. And he said, John, I feel better. I really feel better. He's in his late 60s. He's otherwise a very healthy man. He's very active. He swims, and swimmers tend to be in really good shape, and he's not overweight, but he wanted to be healthier. And so for him, he felt like the process was easier than just quote unquote going cold turkey, or we should say going no turkey, right? And so I think that working in the direction of a whole food plant-based diet at your pace is fine. The sooner you get there, the healthier you'll be when you do. And the sooner you get there, the sooner that you can begin to unwind or undo some of the damage that's been done to your body by these animal proteins and animal fats over the years. And we do know that there is a lot of documentation of people that have had severe coronary heart disease who've adopted a whole food plant-based diet, gave up all animal products, and then have had follow-up angiograms, coronary angiograms, that show clearing of the plaque from their arteries. So these are people that have actually got proven a benefit, cardiovascular benefit. We do know that we can cure type 2 diabetes. That's been proven over and over again. We've seen that go away. It's more difficult when the disease is more advanced to the point where a person is needing insulin. So that's a trickier place to be, okay? So if you are all pills, your oral medications are controlling your diabetes, then there's no reason that you can't take an aggressive stance or develop, a process toward getting there. Of a whole food plant-based diet, and stick with fruits and vegetables, and not expect, and you should expect, that you will see a definite improvement in your diabetes. So to the point where you should expect a cure at some point. And it may take a year, it may take 18 months, you may do it in 6 months, you may do it in 3 months. It depends on how far along the disease is and how severe your insulin resistance problem is. But insulin resistance is caused by animal proteins and fats. And so we're here to encourage you to get there as quickly as you can, but not so fast that you feel sick or tired or whatever along the way. For me, it was a rather simple transformation. For others, it takes longer. Everybody's different. So we're not the plant-based eating police here. We're not gonna call anybody out for not
No.
Okay, so all right, well, so somebody just did just what we were talking about. They checked their NHS, apparently has a BMI, and says you are at 38.7. So at 38.7, under my medical system, you would be categorized as stage 2 obese. So you can stand to lose a lot of weight, and you certainly have a lot of stored up calorie in the form of adipose or fat. And you can fast twice weekly. If you can fast twice weekly safely and you don't fall into one of those categories of people who we say that you shouldn't fast, those are people with eating disorders, people that are type 1 diabetics, or somebody who's pregnant, then you should be able to do the 2-day-a-week fast like Sue and I are doing, and expect the benefits from it. Your turn, Sue. Go ahead. I don't want to take over and monopolize the conversation.
That's all valuable information that we want to know. People are saying that Alina's saying that breads were the hardest to give up. Chrissy's saying she'd wish she'd started with dairy, but the dairy is very hard to let go. She's also saying thanks for the cashew milk suggestion. She's found it a real pleasant surprise for the taste of it. And I have a question about, Deborah is asking, she's saying, why is Meta 7 so expensive?
That's a fair question. I'd like to answer that. The ingredients that we use in Meta 7 are extremely expensive to source. When you talk about creating a supplement, one of the most important things that you have to do, if you're going to put your name and your picture on it, and I do, then you better make sure that your ingredients are good. That's number one. So there's been studies done on over-the-counter supplements where they've pulled these supplements off the counters and they've sent them to independent research labs, and they have found that they didn't include any of what was on the label in some cases. Now, I'm sure many of the national brands are just fine. I'm not here to say they're not. But when you talk about producing 5 million bottles at a time, you're certainly going to get a price discount compared to me where I order 3,000 to 5,000 bottles at a time, for example. It's much different pricing. The methylcobalamin, the form of B12 that we put in Meta 7, runs approximately $20,000 to $25,000 a kilogram. Okay, so I want you to wrap your head around that and realize that when I purchase these, I'm spending sometimes in the neighborhood of $35,000 to $40,000 to order a shipment that may only last us 6 months, maybe 8 months, depending on how awesome our videos are, because our Meta 7 sales are driven by the views that we get, because that's our form of advertising, right? So I would say, Sue, they're saying your channel's not live, so you might want to check that, okay? So Meta 7 is expensive to produce. By the time we put Meta 7 up on Amazon, the profit left over is in the single dollar range, not $1, but in the single dollars. It's not even $10. Okay, so when you start talking about the effort required to order, to the opportunity cost for the monies put into it, the shipping, the monies that go to Amazon and to all of those, then you say, wow, there's and we have a number of items, for example, that I have on my Meta 7, my meta-7.com website that we do not even list on Amazon because we would actually lose money on those items because of the cost of shipping and the cost of what Amazon takes. So they're only available on my website. We are working on some new bundles, though, some a different approach that I'm trying to work on for the new year, that we hope that by buying or by packaging items together, we can bring the cost down some. So I hope I've answered that question for you. I want you to know that it's not. Yes, there's a little bit of profit there. I'm not going to be dishonest. We do earn a little bit of money, but you have to offset that with the fact that we don't earn money off of our YouTube videos anymore. So the cost of production and all that. So for us, there's a little bit of money in there. It's not a lot. We feel it's fair. We'd like to be able to lower the price, but the cost of production is very high. And I pay interest on the money that I use to borrow to produce the item. So there's a lot of other costs that are hard to really see. So producing a private label supplement that you've developed yourself carries a lot of risk. We have insurance that we have to carry. I carry a $5 million umbrella policy, for example, because if a person has a problem, that comes back to me. That comes back to the manufacturers. So we're double insured. So we make sure that we do things the right way. And it is expensive. So I hope I answered that question fairly. For example, our essential multivitamin is $25 for a 3-month supply. You can probably buy a 3-month supply of a good multivitamin for $15, I would say. So you could probably buy a decent comparable product and save $10. But by buying it from us, you support our channel and what we're doing. And so we thank you for that. We realize that in some of those cases, you can get it a little bit cheaper. We have a new liquid gel calcium product that's $25 for a 3-month supply. There's 180 liquid gel calcium supplements in the bottle. It's heavy. I mean, it's heavy to hold. There's a lot of product there. Hey, Tammy, so this is not something that we're going to be able to ship a lot. We're trying to work a way that we can add the vitamin D to it and produce a bone builder product, because we realize that osteoporosis is such a huge problem in Western societies. But you have to also say, when you look at the price of Meta 7, if you compare it to a cup of coffee, let's do that. What does it cost you to buy a cup of coffee? And I'm not going to talk about Starbucks because we know they're ridiculous, okay, in their price. Hey, look, if you want your triple espresso latte, whatever, and it's $6 and you're okay with that, that's fine. That's not what I'm comparing with. You're buying a high calorie, high fat, high sugar content product, cheap calories, in some cases not very healthy. Okay, so let's just talk about going into your nearby convenience store, and you go in and you get a medium-sized cup of coffee. You're going to spend 89 cents, $1 for it, and with tax maybe $1.05, right? Am I out of line here? Meta 7 is $75. It's a 90-day supply. It's less than $1 a day, and I promise you, if you take Meta 7 and you stick with it, you're going to get a lot more energy that's a lot longer lasting than you're going to get from that cup of coffee, okay? And you're not going to get the jittery, shaky feeling that you get with a caffeinated beverage. Okay, Tammy, if you can get coffee somewhere for 39 cents, more power to you. I can't find it anywhere for 39 cents, okay? So, yeah. 39 cents is a great price for a cup of coffee. I can't find it. But anyway, so there you go. You have to, you take it, and a lot of people, wow, $75, that's a lot of money. Okay. All right, I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not going to say that it's cheap, but I'm going to tell you, if you compare it with a Red Bull or a Monster or those little 5-hour energy things that you get, that you're going to spend $2.50 for one day, and guess what? It's not that expensive if you put it in those terms. So,
yeah.
But Fair
It,
question, and I'm glad to
yeah,
answer.
no, that's good. I mean, it just depends. I put my money into things that are going to make my health go better. So I don't buy some things that I would have previously bought. Not even really swapping it out, but when I think of the things like, I mean, I rarely drink alcohol now. I used to have, we were always having wine or beer or something every night. And when you add that kind of thing up and you go, well, I'm not spending that anymore, but I am using, my probiotic, and I'm also using Meta 7 now. It's just like, how do I want to feel? So I think it's investing money in your health is a really good thing, because when you've got your health, you've got the whole world in your hand. So that's kind of how I look at it. Maybe there's something, because a couple of people said they wish they could afford it. Maybe there's something that you do spend money on every day or quite often, that you could go, well, do you know what? If I didn't have that, second bottle of wine or whatever, I don't know what it is for you, but you could say, I'd actually rather that than this. So have a look at what you do spend your money on. It's like, I mean, obviously we're doing all the plant-based now, so I'm sure a lot of you are not having that sneaky bar of chocolate every time you fill your car up. But all those things, those little bits and bobs add up, and you could just go, do you know what? I'm not buying those things. Instead, I'm going to invest it in making sure that I feel better. And the better you feel, the less you want the things that you think you're giving up as well. And that's what I found. I had a question earlier from, I think it was Elena actually, but it might not have been. How are you getting on? Oh, it was Elena. Aha! I have a good memory. How is it going giving up your fizzy drinks, your soda? Would you like to enlighten everyone as to how you're doing with that?
I was answering a message. Somebody asked how
Oh,
I'm doing without the fizzy drinks. I'm actually doing okay. I'm relearning to drink water, and I don't approve of these kind of bottles. We just had some of these around. I prefer the gallon bottles. I don't like drinking tap water at work because it comes from the municipal water supply, and I know that there are coliforms in the water and chlorine, and sometimes the chlorine forms carcinogenic compounds that you really don't want. So I think that if you have, hey Joe, I think that if you're drinking water out of the tap, you need to filter it. A pressed carbon block filter is probably the best way to go. I find that a gallon of water, I like the natural spring water that comes right here from Texas. It's called Ozarka. It's a popular local brand and has been for many years. They're the ones that used to drive around and still do with the big trucks and the giant 5-gallon bottles that you would turn up in the dispenser for the water cooler area. They've been producing fresh spring water for a long time. It's delicious. I've always enjoyed it. I don't like these bottles because they end up in the ocean, and everybody knows that. So, I just happen to have it, so I'm drinking it. But as far as how I'm getting away from the fizzy drinks, it's actually been easier than I thought. I've not had any kind of withdrawal issues or anything from giving up the Coke Zero. The truth of the matter was, I wasn't drinking that much of it to where it was a big issue. It was just something. It was a guilty little pleasure that I like to have. If I'm gonna sit here with you all 2 times a week and advocate healthy eating and that kind of thing, I guess I shouldn't be a hypocrite and drink Coke Zero. So there you go.
excellent.
I'm
That's
making a positive change.
that's brilliant. Look at that big smile on your face as
Well,
well.
I mean, I'm a human being like everybody else. I mean, I have to learn. I'm still a baby vegan, and I'm not even a year into this, and neither are you, Sue Verhoeven. So,
That's
uh,
right.
even though you are, what did they say? What was that term? The YouTube star and wellness coach, I believe it was. I'm trying to remember what that
Yeah,
was. It was. I just got such a kick out. I thought it was fabulous. I loved how they said that.
that's
Uh,
right.
okay,
That's my
so
friend.
if you have had an issue or concern about the price of Meta 7 and you want a discount on it for you guys tonight, I have put a special discount that is started at 6 p.m. and it goes until tomorrow night midnight. So you can take 15% off any order. It won't do it for just like a vitamin D, a $10 item, but it will take for any order up over $50. You can knock 15% off. That takes all the profit out of it. Okay. And in some cases, and then some. But I'm happy to do that for you guys because I really want you to try my stuff. Okay, so there you go. That's the best I can do for you. In the past, I've done some things for some people that were in really dire situations, really low income situations, where I've given them much bigger discounts, but I did it as a gift. And if you convince me that you are disabled, you are on the Social Security income, and that you genuinely want the product, but you simply cannot afford anything near, send me an email and talk to me, and I will work with you. I promise you. I've done it many times. This is not just about making money. This goes into that whole, just like that whole thing with Kroger that we got into, and I'm still answering messages on that, because it's not just about making money, guys. It's not. It's about caring about each other. It's about doing the right thing. I don't mind giving away a bottle to somebody. I've had people ask me questions. They've sent me emails where they've and this is not about me tooting my horn here. That's not what this is. But I've had people send me emails and say, look, I'm on all these medicines. I want to try it. Do you think it will help me? And I've answered them back, look, I don't know if Meta 7 will help you. I didn't design Meta 7 to help sick people. It never was for ill people on multiple medicines to be a life changer. What I designed Meta 7 for was for the average person who was coming to my clinic telling me they just don't feel good and they couldn't figure out why. And I couldn't figure out why either, because all of their labs were normal. They weren't depressed. They didn't have sleep apnea. They didn't have other issues. And I had no answer for them. And so I got to work with supplements because I began to believe that there might be nutritional issues because of the way our food is handled. And we started with different recipes, and we went through a number of different stages of development of Meta 7. And we worked with a pharmacy that kept producing different kinds of this until we got people were coming back saying, I got to have more. That stuff's fantastic. And we got to that stage, and I said, that's it. That's the one. And that's when we went to a manufacturer and said, this is what we want. And we haven't looked back since. And that's been several years ago. And Meta 7 has continued to be a big item. And I will say there have been a lot of people that have asked me that question. I've honestly answered, and I said, I don't know. But let me do this. Let me send you a bottle. Let me just send you some to try. I will be happy to send you a 30-day bottle and let you try it at my expense. And a lot of them have become customers. They liked it so much, they felt like it was definitely worth the money, even the sacrifice in some cases. So this is my way of saying, hey, for you guys tonight, 15% off whatever you want, and so I thought, you know what, I'll do something nice for the guys tonight, and I appreciate you. So there you go.
And I've put the link in the comments. It's a bit higher up. When I get a break, I will put it in again, that link for you for the discount. I have got a few questions. Hang on a second. I've got to find. Would you please, my darlings, put the questions in capitals for me? Right, hang on a sec. Tracy's asked a couple of really good questions. Chrissy Moore. Right, Chrissy asked a question. Right, and also Tracy asked a good one, so I've got a couple here. Dr. G, along with other medical issues, this is from Chrissy Moore. Along with other medical issues, I'm concerned I have diabetes. My blood work shows 5.8 for A1C, but I'm having many symptoms, i.e. leg swelling, declining eyesight, neuropathy, etc. What do you think?
I think I need more information. What other, are you on any other medications you want to share with us? So we'll need to follow up on that.
Yeah, okay. Just flick some meds that you're on, Chrissy. I typed a question, seems it went poor and it's gone. Did anyone see it? Chris Badger. I'll have a look in a minute for your question. I've got, Tracy was saying, and I pretty much, I think I know what the effect would be. What would be the effect on my body when I've given up dairy, say 1 month in, if I was to have, say, tea with milk in or lasagna with cheese sauce?
You'd get an upset stomach. You'd probably end up with diarrhea. Ask my daughter. She did that just the other day. She had something with cheese, and she ended up sitting on the toilet, and she complained to me. She said, "That's it, Dad. I'm not eating cheese anymore." Because she had gone 10 days or so without even any cheese. She's doing really well. And then she ate some cheese, and then she ended up in the bathroom. She felt horrible.
Yeah, you'll feel really horrible, basically. Tracy's saying, well done about giving up the soda. Then there's no reason I can't give up stuff that's crap for my body.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm getting some questions. I'm going to start writing some of these down because we're going to come back to these. Somebody asked about my definition of type 1.2 diabetes. I'll get back to that. Somebody else asked about different forms of B12. I'll talk about that. So I don't want to lose them. So I'm coming.
Folks.
I think I'm caught up. If I miss you, just let me know. Okay, go ahead.
Kira said, why is it so hard to give up Coke? I know the chimps want it. It's just hard to shut those fools up. That's our little ego going, I want it, I want it, I want it. You're absolutely right. You just need to learn to manage your chimp. Chrissy Moore is saying that she's started taking my probiotic. You were taking one before, I know. And it's amazing. I encourage you to leave a link below for others to try or mention it once a stream and leave in the comments. I think many will benefit. I think it's just like magic. It's my favorite thing ever. So thank you for that. That's amazing. Chrissy's going to email you the other things that she's doing. Hi, Luann.
Oh, she's got my email. Good. Okay.
She's put her question back in that I hadn't had a chance to go up. Question, Dr. G. I'm taking a stress formula B complex, a multivitamin for over 50, calcium and vitamin D. Is there anything else I should be taking?
Well, let's talk about things that we should be taking. First of all, we're talking about a lady who is age 50. Is that right? Did I hear that correct?
Yeah.
All right. So the number one thing that I can tell you that you should do for your health, unless you have a reason not to, unless you have a bleeding disorder, or unless you have a doctor reason not to, you should take a baby aspirin once a day. And it's over the counter. I believe it helps reduce your risk of micro strokes, very small strokes that we only interpret as having a bad day. And I think that it certainly reduces your risk of heart attack. It reduces your risk of stroke. It reduces your risk of blood clots forming in the legs and in the lungs. It reduces your risk of colon cancer. It has been tied to a reduction in risk of breast cancer and also prostate cancer. So a baby aspirin once a day. That's number one.
She's 61. Sorry.
61. That's great. 61. Wonderful. So 61, unless you have a reason not to, I recommend a baby aspirin once daily. That's number one. Number two, a daily A to Z multivitamin has been proven to reduce your risk of heart disease in different studies by as much as 5 to 10%, and it reduces your risk of cancers of all kinds by up to 10%. So multivitamin, A to Z multi. Number three, you should be on, now this depends on your location. This is pretty standard for us here in Houston, but if you are in most places north of about, I don't know what country you're in. If you're in England, certainly this would apply to you. But a vitamin D, and I recommend 5,000 units a day until your vitamin D level is over 80. If your vitamin D level is over 80, you can reduce that to about 2,500 units a day. My vitamin D levels were in the 20s, and I was on 3 forms of vitamin D every day, and I could not get my vitamin D level up. But when I made the switch to whole food plant-based, my vitamin D level zoomed to 60, and then to over 80. So I stopped taking my own vitamin D. I didn't need it anymore, right? So that would be number 3 on the list, would be vitamin D. The next thing on your list should be calcium supplement twice a day. Your body, if you get the hard calcium, like the oyster shell-based calcium carbonate that's generally sold, your body absorbs about 3% of that. It's not very much, but I've seen people take way too much calcium. So be careful. You can take too much calcium. So if you just follow the instructions on the bottle and take a couple of those a day, that would be plenty. The next thing on the list, I would begin with a list of micronutrients. A magnesium oxide, 400 milligrams once a day. I would take, certainly consider some extra vitamin B12 and folate. You can just get those over the counter. I would look at alpha lipoic acid, ALA. It has been shown to reduce your risk of neuropathy, and it's also been shown to be important for the handling of glucose and energy molecules at the cellular level. So I would look at that. So that's.
She says she takes 1,000 units a day of vitamin D, and she's in Canada.
It's not enough. No, it's definitely not enough. And the researchers that are involved that are still we still don't understand everything vitamin D does. Vitamin D is very, very important, and we still don't understand all of the areas of our body that it plays into. We do know it's important for bone health. It's important for skin. Yes, it's important for sense of well-being. It helps prevent depression. Vitamin D does a lot more than that, though. We think it helps prevent cancer. We think it's involved in digestive issues. So vitamin D is extremely important. And if you go in for a wellness exam, ask your doctor to check your vitamin D level. You may be shocked at how low it is. Now, we here in Houston, we're supposedly in a temperate zone where we get enough sunshine where we shouldn't need vitamin D. But the exact opposite is the truth, because we are the most air-conditioned city in the world. Yes! One of our claims to fame, right up there with the fact there are more restaurants per capita in Houston, Texas than any other city on the planet. That's not necessarily a good thing. We're also one of the most obese cities in the world, okay? So because of the fact that our weather here is so hot and so humid for so many months, people don't spend time outside here. We stay indoors most of the time. In the wintertime, that's our outdoor time, but the weather's not very good. We don't have as much sunshine. So as a result, I see patients with vitamin D levels as low as 3, 5. People that come in, they don't feel good, and I check their vitamin Ds, and they're horribly low, horribly low. We get their vitamin D levels up, and they start feeling better, and they start not feeling depressed, and they start interacting more with other people and getting back to their usual lives, or the lives that they think they should have had that they lost because of a low vitamin D level. In women, vitamin D is even more important because of the role it plays for strong bones, okay? And teeth for all of us, but strong bones and skin. And if you're worried about the elasticity in your skin and you don't want wrinkles, then one of the things you should do is look at your vitamin D level. It's very important for all of us. So I've gone off on a vitamin D tirade. Get your vitamin D. It's important, and we're learning more and more about vitamin D. So how's that for a starter list?
That's an amazing list.
It's a starter
I hope
list.
you all had your pens and paper. In fact, I think we should advise that you bring a pen and note paper
to come to class, right? There's one more item. If you wanted to add another ingredient, I would add chromium picolinate. It's also important in the handling of glucose and management of energy molecules, adenosine triphosphate at the cellular level. Chromium picolinate, very important. It's usually recommended to diabetics to help improve their insulin resistance. So some of those ingredients that I've just mentioned are also in Meta 7. So you see where my research has come from and how it's played out into a product that I recommend for all of my diabetics. My diabetics that I put on Meta 7, when they come into me and they're on 3 or 4 medications, let's say for diabetes, if I can get them to take the Meta 7, oftentimes I can get them off a prescription drug because it does improve their insulin resistance issue, and it improves their glucose sensitivity enough to where we're able to start dropping medications. So There's that. So yeah, I would add the chromium picolinate, the magnesium oxide, the alpha lipoic acid. I would add a B12 supplement. If you're going to take a B12 over the counter and you're not going to take mine, then take something that you put under your tongue, because your body doesn't absorb B12 very well in the gut, in the stomach. So put it under your tongue, get the sublingual B12, which, by the way, is more expensive, and there's a reason for it, because it works better. If you go to your doctor and you ask for B12 and you want to give yourself a shot once a week, they will give you the cyanocobalamin, and you'll give yourself a big shot once a week. You'll get the same benefit. You'll spend a lot more without having to take a shot once a week than just taking Meta 7, which has the methylcobalamin. If you don't want to buy Meta 7, go find methylcobalamin over the counter and look at the prices, and you'll see that I'm not pulling your leg on this, okay? No, not all of the things I listed are in Meta 7. Calcium's not in Meta 7. Aspirin's not in Meta 7. There is a little cholecalciferol, or a vitamin D product, in Meta 7. Meta 7 was never designed to be a standalone product. It is not designed to replace a multivitamin. Even on the label I put on there, it's designed to be taken with your daily multivitamin. So it is not a full nutrition product. It never was designed to be. But what we found was the ingredients in there were either not available in a multivitamin, or if they were available in a multivitamin, they were in the wrong form, or there wasn't enough. And so we didn't invent any of these items. What we did was we created a collection, a synergy effect with everything that's in Meta 7 that works together in harmony to help the body deal better with energy issues. And so, and there are many people that are on my site over here that are writing, they're typing, and they're taking it. They love it. They do well on it. And I have customers that have literally ordered 20 and 30 times. They wouldn't be repeat buying if it didn't work. It works. So anyway, no, that list of, and I'll tell people, I've had patients that come in that say, well, I really don't want to buy your Meta 7. I think it's too expensive. And I'll say, get your phone. And they get their phone, and I'll hold the bottle up, and I'll say, take a picture of the ingredient list and just go get the ingredients. I don't care if you buy mine. I want you to take this, though. And they'll go and they'll do that. And sometimes they'll come back and buy the Meta 7 because they find that it's cheaper I put it all together for you. It's more expensive to buy all the ingredients separately. Okay, so many of the ingredients are. Debs talks about using a white light in the winter to help with a seasonal affective disorder, or SADS, which is a big problem for a lot of people. They don't get enough sunshine. The sunshine affects the pineal gland, and it affects hormone production in our body, and some people do develop biochemical changes in their body because of lack of sunshine, and it leads to neurotransmitter deficits such as serotonin levels. Very important if you have seasonal affective disorder. If you get depressed in the wintertime, you can do something about it. One of the things you can do is you can increase your light exposure by getting a light. Talk to your doctor about that. Tammy says she takes the B12 shot every week. Tammy, if you're taking Meta 7, you may be able to stop taking the B12 shots. But if you're taking the B12 shots because of nutritional deficits, don't stop because of that. Meta 7 is not. I can't tell you to take it to prevent, treat, cure, or diagnose any disease. That's against the law in the United States. I cannot do that, and I will not do that. What I will say is, if you want to feel better, have more energy, there's a lot of science behind what I put in Meta 7. Try it. That's what I'll say. Does the light actually work? Yes, it does. It does actually work for seasonal affective disorder. Debs is sharing with us that she suffered with it since she was a teenager, and you can ask her right here. Ask her if it works. There you go. Okay. New topic.
Wow, that's fantastic.
New stuff.
I've got some levels of vitamin D that people were taking. 500,000 units once a week.
That's 50,000 units once a week.
50,000, sorry.
And it's D2. It's not D3. It's a different form. And
vitamin D.
And there have been cases where I have people that have severely low vitamin D, and I have put them on the prescription vitamin D, the 50,000 vitamin D2, which the body converts to the active form, the D3. Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, she said she was taking 50,000. This is Nancy, taking 50,000 units for about 3 months, once a week. She wasn't sure if that's right, but she says she now takes 2,000 a day, and oregano, I think you call it, oil for immune system.
Oregano.
Oregano, that's how you say it, isn't it?
Sorry, I think you're saying oregano. I'm guessing.
Yeah, sorry. Pecans. I'm just going to get that in there. I've learned to say that word. Nancy says she takes more supplements than meds. Lol. Well, that's absolutely excellent. I've got some ridiculous internet going on tonight, so sorry, you're a little bit shaky at my end. Deborah is saying her husband eats red meat weekly and in large amounts, loves high-fat sweets, lots of soda, breads, processed foods, etc. And he knows his cholesterol is close to 400 and he doesn't care.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's such a shame.
I wonder how old he is. I wonder how old he is, and does he have heart disease in the family?
How old is he, Deborah, and does he have heart disease in the family? Lynn is asking, is powdered turmeric okay to use, or do you get fresh turmeric?
Either is fine.
Yeah, either's fine. I mean, fresh is great. You need 3 teaspoons of fresh to 1 teaspoon of dried ground. If you can get fresh, because fresh is always fantastic, but I've actually got some in the fridge at the moment, but I haven't used it for anything, so I need to start using it.
We have Kroger has it for sale. I've just never bought it. I take it. I've talked to other people that spend a lot of time. BruceandMindy.com. They go around the country. They do a 1 day to wellness, and they talk about making the conversion to whole food plant-based eating. And I asked them the same question about turmeric, and they looked at me and said, well, why don't you just eat turmeric? And they're absolutely right. But I want to be sure that I get it every day because it's such a powerful anti-inflammatory that I go ahead and get it in the caps, in the gel cap form, and take it. I might try buying some though.
Yeah, Leanne says she gets the powdered turmeric, but she takes 6 capsules a day, 2 at each meal. I mean, it's just great. You can also make like a turmeric latte. You can use some like cashew milk, make a nice hot drink, make it all turmeric-y. That's really nice. Like turmeric latte is really good. And you can add other spices as well, things like ginger and cardamom pods are really good. Cinnamon is great. A little bit of nutmeg. These spices are really, really good digestives. They're really, really good for you. Deborah is saying that her husband is 55, and yes, there is heart disease in his family.
Well, then I think that he needs to have what we call a come to Jesus meeting. He needs an intervention. Walking around being overweight, super high cholesterol, and ignoring what that's going to do to your body, eating red meat, eating basically like an animal. And he probably thinks that he's okay, that whatever, that this is that this isn't really going to affect him, but it is. And the problem, and this is what I'm going to tell you exactly what I tell my patients. This is what I say to my patients that have that kind of attitude. First of all, why are you in my clinic? If you don't want to take better care of yourself, if you don't want to prevent disease, what are you doing here? Well, if they say, well, my wife sent me here, then I say, well, fine. And it's always the men. It's not the women. It's the boneheaded men that do this, okay? Look, I'll tell them, look, well, then your reason your wife sent you here is because she loves you and she wants you around a little while, okay? You're going to kill yourself. And the problem isn't that you're going to have a heart attack and die. And the problem isn't that you're going to have a stroke and die. The problem is you're going to have a big heart attack and you're gonna dial 911 because you can't breathe, you can't move, and the chest pain is so severe you don't know what's going on. You feel like you have an elephant sitting on your chest, and somebody's going to show up at your door. They're going to put you on a stretcher. They're going to drop nitroglycerin under your tongue. They're going to put oxygen on you, and they're going to rush you into an emergency somewhere. They're going to call in a cardiologist. They're going to roll you into a cath lab. They're going to run a rod up, and they're going to try to save your heart. But the problem is there's already going to be damage that's done. And you're going to have congestive heart failure because you're going to have a weak heart, a weak pump for the rest of your life. And it's not going to be 1 or 2 medicines or a mild lifestyle change. You're going to be on 8 medications. You're going to have 5 doctors. You're never going to have the energy level. You're never going to have the enjoyment left for life. And not only that, you're going to burden your family. And I'll tell them, and I think that's a damn rotten way to live, and it's a damn rotten way to treat your family. If you love your family, then take care of yourself. And if you don't want to take care of yourself, don't come to my clinic anymore, because I find it extremely unsatisfying as a physician to try to deal with a non-compliant patient who doesn't care about their health. So if you don't care about your health and you really are seriously not going to do anything about it, please don't come in, because you're not only wasting your time, you're not only wasting healthcare dollars, but I find it to be an emotional drain on me, and you're wasting my time. So please don't do it. And if that doesn't get their attention, then they shouldn't come back. Because what's the point of drawing labs and finding out somebody's got super high cholesterol and they're on the verge of a heart attack? What's the point? There is no point. Go out and destroy yourself if that's what you want to do. I mean, there's something, that's what I call somebody that needs an intervention. They need an intervention, okay? That's just as bad as somebody that's drinking to the point where they can't function anymore on a regular basis. Or a 20-something person who's using drugs and they can't function. They're hurting themselves. I will preach it, and I will say it, because I do feel strongly about this. And I have discharged patients from my clinic before because they were non-compliant and they refused to give a damn about themselves or their family, and I didn't want to deal with it anymore. I have to protect my emotional health in my clinic, and when I have somebody who is dragging me down and dragging down my staff because they refuse to take care of themselves, but yet they keep showing up with the same problems, we ask them not to come back. We ask them to go somewhere else. Or get serious, one or the other. I mean, there's no in between. Get serious about getting well, or stop taking up the time of your doctor.
Yeah. No, that's tough love, and maybe that is the catalyst that people like that need to kind of hear, because sometimes family are the worst. Well, not the worst, but sometimes you don't listen to your family because you're in denial, really. So yeah, no, people are saying they love your passion, and people are sending prayers to Deborah.
Absolutely.
He's not that much overweight. He isn't going to the doctor. She cares about him, but he's an arsehole.
Well, unfortunately, yeah.
The lovely Chrissy said, I'm sure I saw it, she said, my heart attack was my come to Jesus moment. And we all heard her amazing story a couple of weeks back. So I don't know, maybe play him this section of the video if you could get him to watch. But some people have to go right to the edge before they have a wake-up call, which is a shame. And some people don't value their health because they just think they're invincible. I did a lot of work quite a while ago, because I had such successful results by taking care of my health and by taking a probiotic and going plant-based, but also just cutting out some things before I went fully plant-based. I kind of got rid of my menopause symptoms, and I just listened to women moaning on and on about sweats and hot flashes and creaking and feeling old and this, that and the other. And then it's like, do you want to do something about that? Oh, but anyway, it's really bad, blah blah blah. And you see, when someone moans about a problem and you say the sentence, do you want to do something about that, and they obviate that question and they continue moaning, They don't want to do anything about it. They just want to have something to moan about. And I found it quite disheartening because, I know what it's like to be, Miss Menopause UK Limited, and to have, my girlhood. I mean, you all know what I'm like. This is me. I'm a girl. I am a girl. I am not this 54-year-old woman. I am a girl. And I lost all of that along with all my identity when I had an early menopause. And I was like 43 or something, and it was all over. It wasn't all over. I just needed to do different things. I needed to take care of myself. And you explain this to me, do you want to stop aching? Do you want to stop creaking? Do you want your joints to move properly? Do you want to get your stamina and your strength and your mobility back? Do you want to not have that? Do you want to not have this? And they just want to moan about it again. It's just like, take some action. And I found it really hard. And I just thought, do you know what? I don't want to work with women with menopause anymore, because they just don't want to take responsibility and do something about it. And I'm here feeling 20 again. And I was, this overweight person on the sofa for 6 years, thinking all the fans were on the pitch and it was all over. And it was rubbish, she said politely. It was, and I think that is, you must get this a lot. Maybe you don't get it so much because you're a very different kind of doctor. I've never come across anyone that can, just hold a candle to you, honestly, really.
Well, you're a sweetheart. Thank you.
Well, your passion and your approach is just so amazing. I've in all my years, and I've had a few doctors. I've lived in lots of different countries and different places, different towns. So I've seen. I don't go to the doctor very much, but I've never come across anyone with your approach. So maybe your patients are more kind of singing from your hymn sheet than the people that just don't want to take responsibility for their own health, and to actually doing something that will make them feel better. Now, I know I'm not talking to you lovelies like this, but it's just what you said about the kind of come to Jesus moment that you mentioned just then. It reminded me of how draining it was talking to people who were just moaning about their menopause. And lots of my friends are like 10 years younger than me, because most people don't have kids when they're 38. They all have them when they're 28. And so a lot of the mums in Finion's class are, a good 10, decade younger than me. So they were all, and I had early menopause. So they started their menopause when I solved mine, but they didn't seem to want to do anything about it. I even started a group about it, and it was just like dead in the water. And I agree with you, it is incredibly draining, and it must be very draining, for you, Deborah, with that whole situation with your husband. And I'm very sorry for that. But anyway, that was my little rant about, you have one life, and it isn't spent in your house, and it's not spent in your car or your Bondo or your speedboat or down your favorite cafe or restaurant. It's spent in your body. That's where we live. That's where all our thoughts come from. And this is why I am so passionate about it, because I didn't always treat myself right, and I literally feel better than I did when I was 20. I'm taking better care of myself now, than I ever did then, because, we're all invincible when we're 20, aren't we? Well, hey, we can jump off tall buildings and leap mountains in one jump, and it's only when things start going wrong that some people wake up and do something, and some people have to have a big wake up, and others less, and other people are just interested in it because they're inspired by other people who've changed their health around. And that's what this channel is all about. It's about you guys, and spreading the word to other people, because you've all got loved ones in your life, and they don't necessarily have to be your husband or your spouse or whatever. They could be your sister or your best friend or someone that you work alongside at work, and you're just like, oh, I'd love to help you, and this is why we do this. and I've just gone on way a lot about.
I have a suggestion. I think we're approaching we've crossed over the first hour. I have 4 items that people have asked me to talk about, and I'm willing to do that. They want me to talk about what my definition of type 1.5 diabetes is, the different kinds of B12, natural ways to work on COPD, and unresolved grief or grief issues. So what I want to do is, can we go ahead and take a 5-minute break, and then we can come back, and then we can talk about. I promise to talk about these, even if I have to stay on later, I will. How are you doing for time? How are you feeling? You doing okay? I know it's late for you, so.
I'm doing absolutely fine, and I think I would like to hook onto a different router in my house because I don't know, the signals are really kind of funny on here. So I am, if I haven't answered your question, okay, please will you come back on in 5 and stick it down in caps for me, and I will definitely get back to you. Okay, my lovely lovelies, I will see you in 5.
5.
Okay,
all right.
lots of love.
Here we go.
See you in a minute.
Don't go away.
Bye.